Hello my friends, welcome to another exciting episode in our Photoshop design series. In this video, I'll be showing you how I created this flyer in Photoshop, right? So if you're new to my channel, if you've not subscribed, now is the best time to hit the subscribe button and make sure you turn on post notifications so you miss any videos I'll be dropping anytime from now. And to my existing subscribers, thank you. I really appreciate all you do. So let's get started quickly. Click on file and click on new. So with this here, what I'm going to do is very simple. I'm just going to give it a name, and this is where I'm going to put the name. So I'm just going to highlight this. I'm just going to type Nike flyer. So it's actually a social media flyer too. So I'm just going to put SN in bracket, right? Now I'm using a 5x5 and it's in inches. Now it doesn't mean I cannot change this to pixels. Now note that changing to pixel, it gives me 1500 by 1500. That's the size in pixels. So you can use a 15 by 15 in pixels or a 5x5 in inches, right? So it really doesn't matter. Make sure your color is set to 300, right? The resolution is 300. So let's start with the foreground color, right? So I'm going to create a solid color here, and this is the color that I use for my background. So this is the color I'm going to be using for my background here. So this is the color code. You can copy that and also use that too by yourself, right? So let me adjust this, Ctrl+0, or use your scroll wheel to zoom in and out. So I'm going to quickly go over to my text tool and I'll type just one word. It's just Nike, but you're not going to see it. So I'm just going to change the color here to white. Click OK. So press Ctrl+T and increase this way like this. It shouldn't be too big, right? I'm just going to move it up here like this, and I'm going to change the font to the exact font that I use. I believe that is Mon, right? So I'm just going to search Mon, and of course I'm going to provide the fonts that I use for this in the description of this video, right? Great. So this is Nike here, and okay, so I'm just going to have this here, and what I'm going to do next is I'm going to make duplicate copies of this Nike. So I'm just going to Ctrl J to make duplicate copy. That's what I'm pressing right now, Ctrl J, and make the last one, drag it here and place it here. So having done this, go over to the first one, hold down shift, select the last one. So you're selecting all like this. So you can now move it with your arrow key or move with your mouse up. I love using my arrow keys. Ctrl T and make this smaller this way, right? Great. So select this, hold down shift, select the last one, right click, and you click on convert to shape. Yes, so convert everything to shape. Still selected, right click again and click on merge shapes. This time you've merged everything into one shape like this, right? Okay, so the next thing you do is come up here and click on this icon here. So with this you can actually warp this font like this. You can warp it any way you want, but that's the direction we're going. So come here and drag this part inside like this. That's the first thing you should do. Come down here also and drag this part like this, right? And drag this part up here like this, and move this inside here like this, and take this out like this, drag this to this part. And if you do make a mistake, you can always go back and Ctrl Z like this. Made a mistake, so I can Ctrl Z this while I'm working on this, and it goes back to its default position. So I'm just going to move this the way I want it to be, and when it's perfect, when I like what I'm seeing and what I've done, I'm just going to hit enter, right, to place it like this. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, we have this sorted out. I can just increase the size like this, Ctrl T to do that, and move it sideways like this. And when you're done, just click enter, right? Great. So what you want to do next is, or what I'll be doing next is, I'm just going to change the blend mode for this. I'm going to change it to soft lights, and I'm just going to reduce the opacity here like this, Note that as I move further into the design, I might change a couple of things. For instance, now I might choose to use this dissolve. I think I like the effect, so it's something that you should also consider, or you might want to consider when you are designing yours, right? Reduce the opacity like this, and set to this values. So I can use dissolve, or I use screen, or I use soft light, but let me stick with dissolve. I'm going to be changing it later on. Okay, so there you have it. The next thing I want to do is I'm going to create a mask for this. So the mask created, make sure your foreground is set to black. Use the brush, and make sure you turn off your caps lock. Opacity and flow is set to 100. So I'm just going to gently on this part like this, and that should be all, right? Nicely done. So let me see the way it is in normal. Okay. Reduce the opacity, and let me see soft lights overlay. Okay, I think I'll just bump this all the way up, and great. So let me just rest there and proceed with the design. So the next thing I want to do is go over to my resource file again. The link to download these things is in the description of the video, so you're going to find the description there. Click on the link and you're going to get these things. All right, great. So I'm just going to drag and drop, and I'm going to resize. I'm going to resize the sneakers itself, and just make it smaller like this, and bring it downwards like this. Okay, so bring it downwards, and click enter when you're done. Okay, so a couple of things. I don't like the way this image is. It's a little bit too it's just so ordinary, so let's make it pop, right? So go over to camera raw, and I'm just going to make a couple of changes to this. So the first thing I'm going to do under basic is, of course, I'm going to add some shadows to it, right? And add some blacks to it. This is subject to change, and increase the texture like this. So you can copy my settings, clarity 27 or 21, and I'm just going to increase my dehaze value like this. Let me take this back up a bit, and I'm going to reduce the highlights and press OK. Okay, so it did the job quite well, but then it's too dark, so let's modify it. Double click on this camera raw like this to bring up that camera raw, and let's tweak a couple of things. So I'm just going to increase the shadow, and yes, increase, and reduce the texture a bit, and what else am I missing? Okay, intact. Okay, we're good to go. So click OK. So you can see the slide changes, right? So this is what we have. So let's move on then. So I'm going to make a duplicate copy of this sneaker. So simple, just pressing Ctrl J on your keyboard solves that problem. So with this one under, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Ctrl T, and I'm just going to flip it like this first, and I'm going to take it up like this while I bring it slightly to the front. Click enter first, and drag it to the front here like this. And with this one, Ctrl T, I want to make it slightly bigger. Law of perspective, right? The farther it goes, the smaller it becomes, right? So I'm just gonna leave this like this, select the two of them, and move this sideways like this, and voila, there you go. Okay, so directly on top of this layer, I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to change the color now because I'm going to be using it to add shadows to the sneakers. So I'm just going to copy the exact color that I used. Okay, so just so we're on the right path, I took the color down. So this is the color, right? So I'm just going to copy this, right, and double click here and highlight this, paste this here. So this is the color, right? Click OK. So let's go on to add the shadow. Click on your brush, and before I come and do this, I'm not going to do this time. I'm going to do things differently. Click on this like this, and over here I'm just going to drag this down, right? So what I'm doing basically is I'm dragging it down to change the direction of the brush, right? So I'm just going to drag it down surface level like this, and when I'm done with this, I'm just going to come here and flow 100, opacity 100, please, very important, and make this slightly bigger with the bracket key. And what you're going to do is just click once, click twice, 3, 4, 5 until you have an obvious shadow. Click on the one at the back and add some shadows to it to make it more realistic, right? So this is how you can also add shadows, floor level shadows, right? So I'm just going to revert this, turn it this way, and that's it. So I'm going to select this, double click on this first. I'm going to name this shadow, right? So with this selected, hold down shift, select the two sneakers, Ctrl G, and group them. So I'm just going to name this sneakers, right? Great. Okay, so let's make this more interesting, and I'm just going to bring in some other elements that I use for this design. So go over to the resource file, and I'm going to bring this thing that looks like a box. It says kitchen cabinet. No, it's not kitchen cabinet. So we're going to be using this, right? We're going to be using this creatively. So first thing you want to do is make it small. Obviously it's too big, right? It's even covering everything we have in our design, and we don't want that. We don't want it to be sent to be the center of the center of attraction. Is it attraction or attention? Attraction, right? We need the sneakers because that's what we're selling. You're communicating, right? You want people to buy what you're selling. So rotate this, hold down shift, and take this up here like this, right? Make sure you're holding down shift, because if you don't hold down shift, you're not going to do this. So hold down shift, and what you should do is click enter and take this upward. So when you do this, you can now Ctrl T this, and from the edge you can make it bigger this way, right? So that's the final step. Make it bigger. Yeah, I think this is nice enough, or I know this is nice enough. So when you do this, the next thing you should do is go over to your adjustments and click on hue and saturation, and right click on it here and click on create clipping mask. So it's affecting this box, right? Make sure you don't miss that. So what you should do is in your hue, I'm just going to bring this inside like this. So this is the color I'm going to be using. So copy my settings for this, please. And I'm going to take lightness all the way down like this. I might want to change this. Let's see. Okay, reduce the lightness like this. It's a blue before, so I wanted to rhyme with all the blues I'm having here. So that's why I'm doing this. So when you do this, hold down shift, select this, and press Ctrl G on your keyboard to group them. So I'm just going to name this box 1. Okay, so I'm just going to rotate this, bring this down just a little bit, the way I want it, and click enter. So make a copy of this, Ctrl J and Ctrl T, and I'm just going to move this to this part of the world, right? I'm gonna move this to this part of the world, and yeah, I think this is cool here. And lastly, I'm going to make another copy of this, Ctrl T, and I'm going to bring this here. So this one is going to be at this point here, like this. So I'm just going to rotate this so that everything is in line, the shapes are in line, and everything is going on well. Good. So let me adjust this. I'm using my arrow key to take it up, take it up, take it up, take it up like this. Select this, hold down shift, select this, right, and Ctrl G to group them. Double click on this to rename it. So I'm just going to name this, I think all boxes is nice. So all boxes for this. So this is the boxes you have there, and you're good to go. So let's make it more interesting. So resource file, I'm just going to drag and drop this directly on the layer for the all boxes. Increase the size like this, don't worry. Next thing you want to do is change the blend mode to color dodge. Yeah, color dodge. So select color dodge like this, click on it, don't be scared, just click on it, and when you do that, right click here and select create clipping mask like this, right? So select create clipping mask, and this is what you have already, right? So I'm going to close this up, that wasn't necessary. So with the way it is now, it's not that realistic. We need to make it more realistic, and this thing blends in well, perfectly. So what we want to do is I'm just going to increase this, reduce this, so it's not too much. But here I'm going to click on adjustments and bring in some curves. So with this curve, I'm just going to make a slight S shape to apply more contrast here. So this is what I mean. So you see it's looking like an S, but it's not, just to make a contrast. And I can bring this back up like this now that I have that contrast that I so desire. Okay, so good. So you have that out of the way. Okay, so let's add life to this design. Right, so when I mean add life, let's add some other details, but I'm going to move this down. Moving this down, you can see why it's very, very important for you to group your items in your design. So I'm going to bring in the text. I saved yours truly time. I saved my time and I typed this out already. So the fonts that I use for this is also in part of the resource file which I provided, right? So you have Moonwalk, you have Mon Oblique, and you have Montserrat, right? So you can use them also. Great. So I'm just going to leave this here, and perfect this way. So okay, let me increase. I'm just going to turn it up to 100, and the fill also I'm going to turn it up to 100. I think I'm going to leave it that way. Great. Okay, now that that's out of the way, and let's see. Okay, yes, we're on a good course. So let's add some other things to it, but I'm going to stay on this layer here, and I'm going to go over and bring in my nice lens flare image, right? In case you don't know what this is called, if you want to search for these things, it's called lens flare. So you can go to Google and search for lens flare PNG. That's a good way to actually start when you're searching. So it's good to actually know the names, so you know what to search for when you are searching. Of course, you won't get what you don't know the name, right? You need to know the name and what it is before you can search for it. And most times Google is actually a very, very great place to start your search from. in as much as you know what you are searching for. So I think that's like the disclaimer there, in as much as you know what you're searching for, right? So in this case, you're searching for lens flare PNG, right? So I'm just going to place this. It's just going to transform, and voila, it's in place. But we have a problem. It's yellow, and we don't want that yellow because it doesn't have anything to do with our design. So click on hue and saturation and create clipping mask like this. Click on colorize and turn this saturation up to 100. And yes, 100. So you have it that way. So nicely done. Hold down shift and select this, Ctrl G to group this. Once again, I'm going to name this lights, right? So I'm going to make several copies and distribute it along with the other boxes. I'm going to put this one here, take this inside like this, and I think this is perfect here. Click enter to place it like this, and it loads up, right? And yeah, Ctrl J to make the last one, Ctrl T, and I'm going to bring this one all the way to this point here. And I'm just going to put this here. Nice and easy like that. Just place it there like that. So this is what we want to achieve. But I'm going to create a mask for this because I need to get rid of some areas, make my brush smaller, and I'm going to get rid of this part here like this. Okay, I'm going to do so to the other ones. You can click on this to see which one you're working on. That doesn't need too much. Click on this one, the last one, right? And I'm just going to hide this here. Okay, so nicely done. Okay, so make it more realistic. That's the whole essence of this. So hold down shift, select this, select all the lights, and I'm just going to just name it light. Okay, good. So you have that nicely done. So the next thing you want to do is go over to your rectangle tool, and you want to draw a rectangle here, right? Make sure your foreground color is the color we changed it to the last time. So make this rounded corners. Of course, you know how to do that already. And I'm just going to type. Go ahead and type. So the word is order now, and of course I'm going to change the color here. So click here once, it brings up the color palette. You can color picker, and you can select the color here, click OK, right? Click enter, and before I do anything else, I'll change the font to the font I use, which is Moonwalk, right? So please, before you start asking which font did I use, please make sure you have watched this video before you ask which font I used, or checked the resource file. Okay, so put it here, and Ctrl T. I'm just going to make this bigger so it's obvious. So the order now button, of course you make flyers like this for your clients, for your customers, so that they can drive sales, and people can order, actually buy what they are selling. So it's very, very important. Make it easy and minimalistic, and yet top-notch. So that's the essence of these videos. So go over to color balance, and I'm just going, you can use my settings for this also. So the midtones, and I'm going to the highlights now, and I'm going to add some cyan to it, because yeah, for shadows I'm going to go over to the blue, So you can copy my settings for this. Okay, yeah, nicely done. Okay, so let's add the icing on this cake. Right, so we have all our ingredients ready. We've color balance. This is before, this is after. We've done everything we need to do. We've added the lights and everything is the way it's supposed to be now. So let's add that extra spice to this our cooking right now. So what you need to do is directly on top of this layer, make a snapshot. Ctrl Shift Alt plus E does this for you. Ctrl Shift Alt plus E. So you're pressing Ctrl Shift Alt and E. So convert it to a smart object and go over to Camera Raw. Now this is where things are going to take form. So I'm just going to add some temperature, move over to the blues, and increase the texture like this. And do I want to add clarity to this? Okay. I might not want that. So I think I'm just going to stay away from clarity. And okay, so let me adjust this one. So you can copy my settings for this also. So I'm just going to add some vibrance to it and add some dehaze to it, +10. And that's by the way. So another important part I want to add is under effect. So go to effects and reduce the vignetting slider like this to add some vignette effect. You can see how much difference that has made, and add some grain to it. So what I just did here is I created like a spotlight effect, because that's like the concept for this flyer, like a spotlight. So you can choose to reduce or increase or take it furthermore like this, but this is the effect that I want to achieve. So I'm just going to click OK like this. If for any reason you feel that is too much, this is before, this is the after. If for any reason you feel that is too much, you can go back to the Camera Raw, adjust it. And if you don't want to do that, you can come over to the opacity and reduce it like this to reduce the effect which you just created. So it's a two-way thing actually, right? So you can either do it the first method or this method. Anyone that works for you is perfectly fine, right? Alright guys, this is how I created this flyer inside of Photoshop. Please, before you do anything, make sure you give this video a thumbs up and you have subscribed if you have not subscribed at this point. I will see you in the next video directly showing on your screen. Thank you.